No one is born a genius. When Einstein was a baby, he did not know the relativity theory. When Mozart was a baby, he cannot compose a sonata. You can say that geniuses have innate talent, but the truth is that you have it too. You have a unique ability that is unlike everybody else's. It manifests now as your hobby or interest. This book will teach you how to turn that hobby into a masterpiece. It will teach you to transform your pastime into your life's work. You will learn how to become a master. You will learn about the 3 phases of mastery. You will learn about the ultimate power that masters have. You will learn how to possess that power too. It is possible. All the masters have done it. They were born into this world just like everyone else. They were ignorant and small, but they have trained themselves to become extraordinary. You can get that training for yourself as well. This book will help you. The ultimate power. You can become a master. There is no age, gender, race, or financial requirement to become one. Think of all the masters you know. Da Vinci, Mozart, Einstein, Gandhi, Dalai Lama, even Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. They all come from different backgrounds, but each of them is a master in their own field. You can become one of them. Why? Because you have a unique set of genes. No one has the same genetic makeup as yours in the past or in the future. That is a fact. All your abilities and potentials are yours and yours alone. There is literally no obstacle that you cannot overcome. In our generation, education is more accessible to everyone. Gender, racial, and social discrimination are significantly less. You are free to make your way to the top. How? This book will teach you. It has everything you need to know to become a master. There are 3 stages you have to undergo. The first is apprenticeship. The second is creative active. The third is master. The first thing you have to do is to figure out your calling in life. What is it that you love to do more than anything? That passion will become your masterpiece. Next is the apprentice stage, where you learn the skill, train with a mentor, and become socially intelligent. After that, you can proceed to the creative active stage, and then finally become a master. It is really not an easy task. It takes intense focus and effort. Research says you need to exert 20,000 hours on practicing your unique ability in order to reach the level of mastery. What is it that masters have? What is their secret? What makes them extraordinary? It is intuition. It is the high form of intelligence and power. When you hear the word intuition, you probably think of magic, mystery, or superpowers. But those are only misconceptions. Intuition is a high level of mental process. It is when you exert decades of improving your unique ability that the answers seem to pop out of your mind. Take, for example, Einstein. His work on relativity theory is not just a concept. It is not just a new idea. Einstein revolutionized science. He changed the accepted view of reality. That is how groundbreaking the theory of relativity is. Einstein has been working towards it since he was a small child, since the day that his father gave him a magnetic compass. Through decades of study, the neurons of his brain have absorbed all equations and concepts of physics. He was able to see the whole picture. He was able to link ideas together and come up with the relativity theory. Intense continuous hours of focus brought him to realize that masterpiece. The effect of the theory is so expansive and enlightening that it seemed it came from magic or the divine. That is what intuition is. It is the combination of consciousness and unconsciousness. It is the mix of instinct and reason. We are more familiar of rational thought than intuition. Rationality is thinking in form of cause and effect, but intuition is having the full perspective. It is using the maximum capacity of your brain. The master is intuitive in the way that he can quickly provide the answer. He can predict what could happen next. He could read people and influence them. He could make things happen. He could do the impossible, and he could create output that is full of beauty and depth. That is how amazing intuition is. You actually tap on this high form of power and intelligence at some points in your life. You have intuition when you are running after a deadline or working on a very important project. Your mind is on a high level of focus and activity. But after that deadline or project, you go back to normal. This book will teach you how to practice intuition in everything that you do. You will learn how to always have that high level of power and intelligence anytime and anywhere you go. It is within you. It is waiting to be unleashed inside you. If you are ready for your journey to become a master, read this book. Discover your calling. Leonardo grew up in a village called Vinci in Italy. It is 20 miles away from Florence. His father is a lawyer, a member of the bourgeoisie. One could say that Leonardo is lucky to be born rich. But the truth is that he is an illegitimate son. He is born out of wedlock. And because of that, Leonardo was not allowed to go to university or work as a professional. He cannot become a lawyer, a doctor, a professor, or any distinguished career. That is the custom in Italy during that time. And so, young Leonardo had little formal schooling. He is often left to explore on his own. Leonardo loved discovering the rich nature of Vinci. He would go to the forest, waterfalls, and rivers. He took wonder on the different animals and plants that he saw. One day he went to his father's office and took some sheets of paper. He wandered to the forest. He sat on a rock and sketched anything he saw. He kept exploring and drawing every single day. Leonardo goes to the forest even when it's raining. He had no tools, no teacher, and no paintings to copy. He just used his eyes. He learned that he had to study the objects very closely. That is so he can take all the details and make his drawings as alive as they can be. When he was 14, Leonardo became an apprentice in Florence. It was in the studio of an artist named Andrea del Verrocchio. Leonardo was accepted there because of the high quality of his sketches. Once Verrocchio assigned a project to Leonardo. It is to paint an angel. He was supposed to follow the design that Verrocchio gave, but Leonardo chose to do his own version instead. He painted the angel on a flower bed, and each flower there is different. They are the flowers that he saw as a child. He drew them in excruciating detail. For the angel's face, he went to the church and studied the faces of people in prayer. He mixed a new blend of paint and came up with a serene mood for the angel. Leonardo also decided that he would be the first artist to create the perfect depiction of angel wings. He went to the market and bought some birds. He studied the beauty of the birds' feathers with much wonder and intensity. Leonardo spent hours and hours on sketching them. And so, his angels looked truly divine. In 1481, Leonardo experienced a challenge in his life. The Pope then was looking for artists to commission for the Sistine Chapel in Rome. He asked Lorenzo de' Medici to recommend names. The problem is that Leonardo did not really get along with Medici. Lorenzo is an aristocrat. He is well versed in the literary classics. But Leonardo could not understand Latin, which is considered the elite language. Other artists from Florence were chosen, but not him. This did not hinder him, though, from succeeding. Leonardo did not really like that culture in Florence. Artists have to impress the royal families or the church in order to get projects. They live on commissions for their artwork, which is not really a stable source of income. So Leonardo found a better way. He decided to go to Milan. There he studied sculpture, architecture, anatomy, engineering, and plenty of other subjects. He widened his expertise. Leonardo offered his services to rich people not only as a painter, but also as an overall advisor. He asked for a regular salary in return. Because of that, he had financial security. He had the freedom to explore all his interests and abilities. Leonardo loved to study and sketch. His sketches of the human anatomy are very accurate, and he also drew machines from his own imagination. It is said that his drawings and notes amounted to over 10,000 pages. That is just how much he loved sketching. So, what is your most favorite thing to do in the world? What is your passion? It can really be anything at all. Maybe it's cooking, reading, scuba diving, or even programming. Whatever it is, don't let anything or anyone stop you from doing it. And hey, if you haven't found your calling yet, it's never too late to do so. You can still become a master. What's important is that intense desire inside you to practice that unique ability. Ideal apprenticeship. When Charles Darwin was young, his father told him, "All you cared about is catching rats. You will be a disgrace to this family." But as we all know, that's not true. Charles's father was a wealthy doctor, and he had high expectations from his son. It really worried him that Charles was not good at any subject in school. It seemed like Charles would not have a good future. He was uninterested in books. What Charles wanted was having adventures. He loved the outdoors. He liked to collect flowers and beetles, and he enjoyed observing birds and writing down what he saw. Charles was greatly curious about nature. But his father was unimpressed. When Charles was 15, his father enrolled him in medical school. But Charles soon dropped out because he simply could not bear the sight of blood. And so, Charles ended up in Cambridge, where he managed to finish a Bachelor of Arts. The only thing that motivated him was botany. He took great interest in the subject, and he became very close with Professor Henslow, the botany instructor. After graduation, Professor Henslow recommended Charles to work as a naturalist on a sea voyage. The ship, HMS Beagle, was to travel for a few years in South America. Charles's duty would be to collect animal, plant, and mineral samples to send back to England. Charles hesitated at first. He had never been that far away from home. But his love for adventure persisted. Captain Fitzroy of HMS Beagle told him that his duty is to find evidence of the Great Flood and the story of creation according to Genesis. After several months, the ship reached Brazil. Charles was instantly mesmerized. There is so much wildlife and vegetation. There is so much color and variety in nature. It was so abundant that he didn't know which specimens to send first. Charles spent his days walking and exploring. He needs to organize, label, and describe all the exotic animals and plants he saw. There is so much nature to study, but he loved it. He learned so much in the 5 years that he explored the wilderness of South America. In Argentina, Charles unearthed remains of an armadillo, a horse, and an elephant-like animal called mastodon. He realized that if so many species have died off so long ago and became extinct, then it is illogical that all forms of life are created at the same time, just like the Genesis in the Bible. In the mountain range of Andes, he even found more evidence to support his idea. 12,000 feet above the sea, Charles discovered fossils of seashells and coral reefs. He speculated that these mountains were part of the Atlantic Ocean a long time ago. Series of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions must have elevated them. In the islands of Galapagos, Charles had a bigger realization. The species found in each island is unique. Though they're only 50 miles apart, the features of animals are different from that of the next island. The shells of tortoise have different patterns. The beaks of finchbirds have different shapes. Charles realized that the species must have adapted to the food and predators that exist in their own island. For thousands of years, the animals have developed the characteristics that they need to survive in that particular environment. There is a constant need to evolve. Only the fittest will survive. So there's a wide variety of species in the islands of Galapagos because of the varying environmental conditions. That must be true for the whole planet as well. Charles returned to England after his 5-year adventure in South America, but he came back as a different man. His father was honestly surprised. Physically, he looked bigger and stronger, and his character was also transformed. Charles became full of purpose and intensity. It turned out that Professor Henslow had shown the research findings of Charles to the professional naturalists of Cambridge. Because of that, they accepted Charles into their circles, and more opportunities for learning came to him. In the decades to come, he completed the theory of evolution and created the concept of natural selection. Charles Darwin became the respected biologist that his father never thought he would be. If you study any master's life story, you'll see that period of ideal apprenticeship or great opportunity which transforms him from a naive outsider to a skilled expert. Before the apprenticeship, he has no discipline and knowledge, but after that, he becomes focused and determined. He enters the world in which he would be known. In your own journey to mastery, you don't have to travel across the world. You need to find that perfect opportunity to train you. It could be a job or maybe an internship, a workshop, or joining a group. There, you can learn the skills, have a mentor, and build relationships with people who have the same interests as you. Immerse yourself in that apprenticeship and make it a goal to improve not only your mind, but also your character. Creative active. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart is a child prodigy. He started playing the piano when he was just 4 years old. His father, Leopold, is a violinist and a music teacher. Wolfgang grew up hearing his father's music classes at home. His sister, Maria Anna, took piano lessons from their father at age 7, and Mozart would hang around and listen. He would hum the melodies and try to imitate them. He was only turning 4 then. Leopold realized that his son had great potential. He decided to start the lessons for Wolfgang, even though he had never trained someone that young before. Wolfgang showed deep focus and a real interest in learning. That is why he became a genius. He just loved playing the piano so much. He was excited every time his father gave him a challenging piece to learn. He would practice it every day non-stop. His parents had to pull him away from the piano and make him go to sleep at night. One day, Leopold saw Anna Maria and Wolfgang playing a piece meant for 2 pianos, and he had an amazing idea. His income was not enough, and so Leopold thought that he and the children could tour cities of Europe and make public performances. Leopold would play the violin and the children would play the piano. He dressed Maria Anna as a princess, and he dressed Wolfgang as a court minister. They went to Vienna, Paris, and London. Anywhere they went, they impressed the royal families and members of the court. Wolfgang befriended the court composers that he met. He asked the famous composer Johann Christian Bach to give him advanced lessons. Wolfgang also fell in love with the world of theater and opera. He immersed himself in the music of the great cities in Europe. The tour of the Mozart family was a success, but they had to think of a new strategy because Wolfgang and Maria Anna were not children anymore. The novelty of their performances had worn off, but still, it was a great opportunity because Wolfgang earned so much knowledge and experience. When Wolfgang was 17, his father secured for him the position of court composer in their hometown called Salzburg. Leopold persuaded the Archbishop of Salzburg to accept his son. He wanted a stable job and income for Wolfgang. However, Wolfgang felt really unhappy. He missed the great theater and music scene that he has been exposed to as a child. Salzburg is just a small town. It doesn't have orchestras or opera performances. Most of all, Wolfgang strongly felt the desire to compose, to create his own masterpieces. He is tired of performing the music created by other people. He cannot deal anymore with the dominance of his father. Wolfgang wants to break free. When he was 25 years old, he accompanied the Archbishop to Vienna. Wolfgang established himself there as an expert court musician, but the Archbishop still treats him like a boy and a servant. Wolfgang felt that his time is running out. He is already an adult, and he decided that enough is enough. When it was time to leave Vienna, Wolfgang told the Archbishop that he will stay. The theater, orchestra, and opera culture is so alive in Vienna. He felt that this is where he belongs. This is where he could expand his talent. He quit his position as a court composer. He would live in Vienna. Not even his father or the Archbishop of Salzburg could stop him. That turned out to be the best decision of his life. At that point, Wolfgang has been a musician for 20 years. He has already practiced for more than 20,000 hours. He is ready to exhibit his genius. It came in the form of the theater play entitled Don Giovanni. Wolfgang is already an expert in all genres. He knows how to express the feeling of sadness, anger, and ecstasy through music. He composed for the large orchestra, and he became a master of it. No one has ever written music in the way that he did. Wolfgang's compositions were so out of the box, they were so creative, adventurous, but still full of mastery and depth. They were able to embody the character of Don Giovanni as a great seducer who laughs on his way to hell. That is how amazing the mastery of Mozart is. For the last 10 years of his life, he composed with no end. He created the overtures, the sonatas, and the opera music that we treasure today. He died at 35 years old, but he had fulfilled his life's work. When we were children, we were full of wonder and imagination. We explore the world like nothing is impossible, but as we grow older, we learn the limits set by society. The responsibilities we have, they kind of move us away from the free creative mind we all had as children. The creative active stage, well, it's really a blend of that childlike curiosity and expert skills. Creative in this sense means that you're highly productive. You're actually creating something that's unlike any other. And active, well, that means you're truly original. You don't just imitate those who came before you. Instead, you see beyond the rules, and honestly, you create something entirely new and different. The composition of Mozart is a great example here. It maximized all the skills of an orchestra. Before Mozart, theater music was always, light and mellow. But with his, over 2 decades of experience, Mozart saw the bigger picture. He created music that expressed all the emotions a character could have, and because of that, Mozart set a whole new trend. Many people were actually shocked by his music. Some even said it was painful to the ears. But Mozart became the new standard in Europe. The world of theater has changed forever because of him. Mastery. Intuition is not a magic power. Anyone can have it, but it requires a great amount of focus and experience. The ultimate power is when you maximize the capacity of your brain. Intuition begins from the memory. Through the years, you absorb all the information, all the theories of masters that came before you. But because you have so much skill and expertise, you gain full perspective. You see the field of knowledge as a whole. You notice what it is lacking, or see a connection that no one has ever thought of. Intuition just comes out of your brain because you process all of that information quickly through years of practice. Research says you need 10,000 hours or 10 years of practice to become skilled, but you need 20,000 hours or 20 years to become a master. It takes 20 years to possess ultimate power, but it is not impossible. We know modern masters who have truly excelled in their career. Take, for example, Bill Gates. He has been programming since he was in high school. When Microsoft became a tech giant, Gates had already over 20 years of programming experience. You can do it too. You have the potential to see beyond limits and create something truly extraordinary. Answers will pop out of your mind like magic, but that is because the millions of neurons inside you are firing every time. Do not settle for mediocrity. You can be something else. You can make history. You can be someone who is truly respected and admired. Today, you are a nobody. But in the future, you will be somebody. Your name will be Googled by people from the other side of the world. Your life story will be written in books and shared in social media. It is all possible. Masters have done it before, and so can you. Think of the Wright brothers, Jack Ma, Nikola Tesla, or the Beatles. There was a time when nobody knew them. There was a time when people ridiculed them. But they kept on working, and they rose above it all. You have a brain. You have your unique set of genes. You have what it takes. Conclusion. You learned about Da Vinci. You learned about Charles Darwin. You learned about Mozart. You learned about the power of intuition. You learned about the 3 phases of mastery. This book gave you the map towards your mastery. What you need to do now is to follow that path. No matter what age you are now, you can do it. Seize the day. You still have time. Make the most out of it. Do your best to achieve the maximum capacity of your brain because time is such a waste if you do not. Get your neurons firing and start your journey to mastery today. If you love this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content. Thank you for watching.